Close your eyes and imagine it is the year 1908. The air is cool, the world is quieter, and the rhythm of daily life is slow, steady, and simple. There are no highways yet, no long streams of cars rushing by. Instead, the sound of horse hooves on dirt roads fills the small towns and farmlands of America. Carriages roll past wooden fences. The smell of hay and earth lingers in the air. Travel is something deliberate, something that takes time. If you wanted to go from one town to another, it was often a journey of hours, sometimes even days. Families would pack wagons, preparing food, water, and blankets for the ride. The pace of life was tied to the horse, steady, rhythmic, and unhurried. The country stretched vast and open, but most people knew only their local town, their farm, their neighbours. The trains had brought great change in the late 1800s. They connected cities across the continent from coast to coast, but the train was not for everyone, not every day. You needed money for a ticket, and stations were far away from small farms and villages. For ordinary people, daily travel still belonged to the horse and the wagon. Imagine a Sunday morning in 1908. A farmer rises with the sun. The rooster calls, the fields wait. If he needs to bring his produce to town, he loads his cart, hitches his horse, and begins the slow trip down the dusty road. The wheels creak. The horse breathes steadily. It may take 2 hours to reach the town's market, though it is only 10 miles away. Now picture a schoolteacher. She lives in a small house near the edge of a rural community. Her classroom is 5 miles away. Each morning she wraps herself in a shawl, steps into her modest buggy, and begins the quiet ride. In winter, the cold wind bites at her face. In spring, the mud splashes her shoes. Travel is not impossible, but it is always slow and often difficult. This was the world before the automobile became common. Life was steady. Life was close to home. People accepted these limits because they had never known anything different. The rhythm of the horse, the creak of the carriage, the dust of the road, this was daily life. But something new was stirring, a quiet dream, one that began in the workshops of a determined man in Michigan, a man named Henry Ford. In the years leading up to 1908, automobiles already existed, but they were not like the cars we know today. They were rare, expensive, and unreliable. Only the wealthy could afford them. Business magnates, industrialists, families with great fortune. They were often more like toys than tools, fragile machines, difficult to repair, complicated to operate. Most Americans had only seen a car in pictures or perhaps once rattling down the street of a city. To the ordinary person, the idea of owning one seemed almost impossible, something reserved for others, not for them. But Ford believed otherwise. He imagined a car that was not a luxury, but a necessity. A car that could belong to the farmer, the teacher, the shopkeeper, the worker. A car that would not only carry the rich across the city, but carry families across the countryside. A car for everyone. And so the world was on the edge of change. A quiet revolution that most people could not yet see, but that would transform daily life in ways they could never have imagined. Let us return gently to the quiet streets of 1908. The world is simple. Gas lamps glow in the evenings. Children play marbles in the dust. Shopkeepers sweep wooden sidewalks. At night the stars shine clear in skies unpolluted by city lights. People move slowly. Life is slower, softer, filled with patience. Every journey requires time and effort. Every visit to a friend, every trip to town, every delivery of goods. Distance is felt deeply, because distance is measured in hours of travel, not minutes. But far away in the city of Detroit, something new waits in a workshop. Wood and steel, oil and fire, a design that will take shape and forever change how people see the road, how people see the world, and even how people see themselves. As you rest, imagine standing on the edge of that moment in history, the moment just before everything begins to change. You are there, in the calm before the storm of innovation. You hear the clip-clop of horses. You see the lanterns glowing on porches. You feel the cool autumn wind of October brushing against your skin. And just over the horizon, in factories and workshops, a new sound is waiting. Not the sound of hooves, not the creak of wood, but the low, steady hum of an engine, the heartbeat of the Model T. Henry Ford was born on a farm in Michigan in the summer of 1863. It was a quiet world then, fields stretching wide, horses pulling ploughs, and the slow rhythm of rural life. As a boy, Henry was not drawn to the farm in the same way as his father. The work of the soil was steady and necessary, but what fascinated Henry was something different. Machines. From the time he was young, he was curious about how things worked. He would take apart watches, carefully lifting gears, springs and wheels, then put them back together again. He loved the hum of tools, the feel of metal, the turning of wheels. To him, machines were alive with possibility, like puzzles waiting to be solved. His father wished Henry would take more interest in farming, but Henry's heart was always drawn to motion, to mechanics, to the new world of invention that was beginning to stir in the late 1800s. Imagine young Henry, sitting by lamplight, staring at a small engine, his hands blackened with oil, his mind alive with ideas. Even then, he was dreaming of ways to make life easier, to save people time, to bring efficiency and freedom into daily work. In those years, the railroad was the symbol of progress. Trains thundered across America, carrying people and goods to places that once seemed impossibly far. Henry Ford was mesmerized by them. The steam, the power, the endless rhythm of wheels on tracks. But he also noticed something important. Trains were powerful, yes, but they belonged only to certain routes, certain stations. A train could take you across the country, but it could not take you to your neighbour's house, or into the fields, or down the narrow road to the mill. For that, people still relied on horses and wagons. And Henry thought, what if there were a machine that could do both? Something small, personal, reliable. Something that could carry a person or a family wherever they wished to go, not bound by tracks or timetables. This thought lingered in him. It grew like a quiet seed, waiting for its moment to bloom. As young man, Henry left the farm to work in machine shops in Detroit. The city was alive with industry. Furnaces glowing, hammers ringing, smoke rising into the sky. It was a world of steel and fire, of invention and ambition. Here Henry learned not only how machines worked, but how people worked with them. He saw men labouring long hours, their hands rough from tools, their eyes tired from the strain. He understood that machines had the power to lighten that burden, if only they could be built in the right way. One day, Henry saw a small gasoline-powered engine for the first time. It was noisy, crude, and difficult to control. But to Henry it was a revelation. He thought, this is the heart of the future. Not steam, not horses, but gasoline engines, small, powerful, and free from rails. From that moment he was determined to master them. Henry Ford built his first small quadricycle in 1896. It looked more like a carriage without a horse. 4 bicycle wheels, a light frame, and a noisy engine. It rattled and shook, but it moved, and that for Henry was everything. He tested it on the streets of Detroit, sometimes to the amusement, sometimes to the annoyance of his neighbours. The machine was far from perfect, but Henry did not give up. Every failure, every sputter, every breakdown was simply another lesson. He believed deeply in a simple idea. Failure is only the opportunity to begin again, this time more wisely. With each new attempt, his designs grew stronger, more reliable, more efficient. He saw beyond the moment. He was not just making a machine. He was making a future. Most inventors at the time were building automobiles for the wealthy. They were complicated, handcrafted, expensive, almost like works of art. But Henry's vision was different. He wanted a car for the ordinary worker, a car that was simple, durable, and above all, affordable. He believed that if he could make such a car, it would not just be a tool, it would change lives. Families could travel freely. Farmers could bring goods to town more quickly. Teachers could reach their schools with ease. The world would feel closer, more connected. And so he worked year after year, never letting go of that dream. In 1903, after years of effort, Henry and a group of investors founded the Ford Motor Company. It was not the first car company, but it carried a unique mission. Ford did not want to build the best car for the rich. He wanted to build the right car for everyone. The early models had some success, but Henry was never satisfied. They were too expensive, too complex, too fragile. He wanted something better, something simpler, something universal. And so, in the quiet hours of the workshop, among the smell of oil and the glow of lamps, Henry and his team worked on a design that would change the world. Now imagine October of 1908. The leaves are turning gold and red in Michigan. The air is crisp, the sky wide and open, and in the workshops of the Ford Motor Company, the first Model T is ready. It is strong but light, simple but reliable, affordable but durable. It is not a car only for the rich. It is a car for the farmer, the teacher, the family. It is a car for America. And soon, on October 1st, 1908, it will be shown to the world. As you rest, picture Henry Ford in those final days before the release. A man with oil on his hands, lines on his face, but determination in his eyes. He is not thinking of fortune, though fortune will come. He is thinking of people. People like his father, his neighbours, the men and women who work hard every day. He's thinking of giving them freedom, giving them time, giving them something precious, the open road. And so, the dream of Henry Ford is about to take shape. The dream of a world where motion belongs not only to the wealthy, not only to trains and stations, but to every family in every town across the vast waiting land of America. The dream has been born. The vision has taken form. The Model T waits just beyond the horizon of history, ready to roll into the lives of millions. Rest now as the story slows. The hum of the engine is still faint, just a whisper in the distance, but soon it will grow, and with it, the world will change. It is now October 1908. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of fallen leaves. In Detroit, in a modest but growing factory, a machine stands ready. It is not extravagant. It does not glitter with polish or decoration. It is simple, it is strong, it is practical. This machine is the Ford Model T. Up to this moment, automobiles had been rare. They were fragile, noisy, and far too expensive for most families. They belonged to the rich, the curious, and the daring. To see one was to stop and stare, as if a strange creature had wandered onto the road. But the Model T was different. Its design was thoughtful and plain. It stood a little higher than other cars built to handle rough dirt roads. Its frame was sturdy, its engine reliable, and most importantly, its price, though still not cheap, was within reach of middle-class families. This machine is the Ford Model T. The base model cost about $850 in 1908. Not small change, but compared to other cars of the time, it was revolutionary. It meant that the car was not just for the wealthy. It meant that ordinary Americans could begin to imagine owning one. This machine is the Ford Model T. Imagine for a moment the scene. A farmer walks into town one October morning. He has heard rumours about a new kind of car, one that might actually be useful to him. He is sceptical, of course. Machines break, engines stall, and what farmer can spend a fortune on something that might sit useless in the barn? But when he sees the Model T, his doubts soften. It looks sturdy, not delicate. The wheels are high, built for mud and ruts. The engine, though small, hums with a steady confidence. It does not feel like a toy, it feels like a tool. Nearby, a schoolteacher stops to look as well. For years she has taken her horse and buggy down the rough country road to reach her schoolhouse. The idea of covering the same distance in a fraction of the time feels almost like a dream. She wonders, could she one day own such a machine? Children gather around, their eyes wide. The engine makes a sound unlike anything they've heard before. Not the snort of a horse, not the whistle of a train, but something new, something mechanical, something alive. The Model T was designed with simplicity in mind. Henry Ford wanted it to be easy to drive, easy to repair, and easy to own. It had a 4-cylinder engine that could reach about 40 miles per hour, faster than most horses could run, and more consistent too. It could run on gasoline, kerosene, or even ethanol, which meant farmers could adapt it to what they had available. The controls were unusual compared to today's cars, but once learned, they were simple. A lever to adjust speed, pedals to control motion, a hand crank to start the engine. Most importantly, the car was rugged. It could handle the rough, muddy, unpaved roads of America. It was not delicate, not fragile, but made to endure the everyday wear of real life. On this day, the Model T officially went on sale. There was no loud announcement, no great parade. The world did not stop, and yet something profound had begun. Those who saw it, those who touched it, felt the quiet promise it carried, a promise that travel could be easier, that distance could shrink, that time could be saved, that freedom could belong to ordinary people, not just the wealthy. Few realized on that crisp October day just how much this little car would change the world. But the seeds were planted. The road of the future had begun to take shape. On this day, the Model T officially went on sale. Imagine the first families who bought the Model T. the father at the wheel, his hands a little nervous as he learns the strange new controls, the children in the back seat laughing with excitement, their hair blowing in the wind, the mother holding her hat against the breeze, smiling at the thought of reaching town in minutes instead of hours. The car rattles down the dirt road, past farms and fields. Neighbours stop their work to stare, some with admiration, some with doubt. Will it last, they wonder, or will it break like the others? But mile after mile the car keeps going. It climbs hills, it rolls through mud, it carries the family home again, safe and steady. And soon word spreads. This is not just another automobile. This is something different. This is something possible. For many, the Model T was not just a machine. It was freedom. Freedom from the limits of the horse and buggy. Freedom from the long hours of travel. Freedom to explore, to visit, to see beyond the horizon of one's town. On Sundays, families would pack a picnic, load into their Model T, and drive to places they had never seen before. Rivers, hills, small lakes, neighbouring towns. The world opened up, one road at a time. Young couples, once limited to the short distance of a walk or a carriage ride, could now travel farther, seeing more, experiencing more. The car became a symbol of youth, of energy, of romance. Farmers, once tied closely to their land, could now bring goods to town quickly, selling fresh produce while it was still at its best. Teachers could reach schools more easily. Doctors could reach patients more quickly. The Model T became part of the very fabric of life. As the first Model Ts rolled out of the factory, no one fully understood the revolution they had begun. But in the quiet of October 1908, a new sound entered the world, the hum of engines steady and strong. It was not the end of the horse, nor the end of the old ways. But it was the beginning of something new, a road stretching into the future, a promise of freedom, a dream on 4 wheels. And so, as you rest tonight, imagine yourself in that moment. The lanterns glow softly in the evening. The air is cool, the stars bright above. Somewhere, down the quiet road, a small car hums softly as it carries a family home. The sound is gentle, steady, soothing. It is the sound of change. It is the sound of the Model T. The year is 1908. The autumn air in Detroit carries the scent of industry. Oil, metal, and fire. Inside the Ford Motor Company's modest factory on Paquette Avenue, something extraordinary is about to emerge. For years, Henry Ford has been shaping an idea. Not just a machine, not just a car, but a vision. A tool for everyday people. Now, that vision is ready to take form. Step inside the Paquette Avenue plant. It is not yet the grand, sprawling complex that Ford will one day build in Highland Park. Instead, it is a tall brick building, filled with noise and movement. Workers move steadily through the factory floor. Some carry iron parts across long wooden tables. Others hammer, rivet, and bolt steel frames into place. The air is thick with the smell of grease and the echo of tools. There is a steady rhythm, like a heartbeat, as each piece of the machine takes shape. The men who labour here know they are working on something special. They may not see the full picture yet, but they feel it, a sense of purpose in every strike of the hammer. This is not a toy for the wealthy. This is not a fragile experiment. This is a car for the people. And then, in the early days of October 1908, it is ready. The very first Model T Ford rolls out of the factory. It is simple. It is strong. It is built not for luxury, but for endurance. Imagine it now. A small, boxy automobile with high wheels that can handle the rough dirt roads of America. A narrow, open cabin with seats of simple leather. A steering column that stands upright, almost like a carriage handle. Its engine hums steadily, powered by gasoline. 2 forward gears and 1 reverse. The car is painted in a dark shade of red. Later, Ford will choose black for most models, but this first one carries a different colour. It is not flashy. It is not extravagant. It is practical. It is affordable. It is reliable. The cost, $850. Still not cheap, but within reach for far more families than ever before. For comparison, most other automobiles of the time cost between $2,000 and $4,000. The Model T is less than half the price, and Ford has only begun. His goal is to make it even cheaper, even more accessible as production improves. The genius of the Model T is not just in its price, it is in its design. The car is sturdy enough to handle rough rural roads. Farmers can drive it through mud, over rocks, across uneven ground. It is light enough to be repaired easily. If a part breaks, a farmer with basic tools can fix it himself. It is flexible. It can be fitted with different bodies, so it may serve as a passenger car, a delivery wagon, or even a makeshift tractor. Ford often says, "I will build a motor car for the great multitude." It will be so low in price that no man making a good salary will be unable to own one. And now that promise is real. Word spreads quickly. Newspapers announce the arrival of the Model T. People gather outside Ford dealerships, eager to see this strange but sturdy new car. Some are skeptical. Can an automobile truly be affordable for ordinary families? Will it last? Is it worth the risk of giving up the trusted horse and wagon? But curiosity is powerful. One by one, the first customers climb inside. The engine starts with a crank at the front. The car jolts, then steadies into motion. Its wheels roll over cobblestones, over dirt, over gravel. And as it moves, something changes. The driver feels freedom, the kind of freedom that only speed, control, and self-reliance can bring. By the end of 1908, over 10,000 Model Ts have been sold. It is only the beginning. Imagine a small-town family in Ohio. They save for months to buy their first Model T. When it arrives, it sits proudly outside their farmhouse. No longer must they plan half a day's journey just to reach the market. Now they can drive there in an hour. Picture a schoolteacher in Iowa. She too saves her salary, and when she buys her Model T, she feels a new sense of independence. She can travel beyond her village, visit friends in neighbouring towns, and carry books, supplies, and letters without waiting for the train. The Model T is not simply a machine. It is a bridge between places, between people. It is a shrinking of distance. It is a quiet revolution, one family at a time. Automobiles are no longer just for the rich. They are no longer curiosities or novelties. The Model T is everywhere, rolling through cities, bouncing along country lanes, parked outside churches, schools, and grocery stores. Other car makers take notice. Some laugh, dismissing Ford's design as plain and inelegant. But others realize something new is happening. The world is changing, and Henry Ford is leading the way. Ford himself is calm, almost quiet about the achievement. For him, the Model T is not the end, it is the beginning. He is not content with selling 10,000 cars. He dreams of selling hundreds of thousands. He dreams of lowering the price again and again until every family can afford one. He dreams of roads filled with automobiles connecting towns, cities, and people in ways the horse never could. At night, he walks the factory floors watching his men at work. He sees the sparks of hammers, the glow of furnaces, the shadows of engines being fitted into frames, and he knows this is only the start of something much larger. So now, let us pause. Imagine the autumn of 1908, the moment when the first Model T emerges into the world. The air is still filled with the sounds of horses and wagons. But now there is also the hum of an engine, a steady sound that will soon become familiar to millions. Families gather around their first cars. Children climb onto the running boards, laughing. Fathers practice turning the crank to start the engine. Mothers ride proudly in the passenger seat, carrying baskets of food from the market. The Model T is here, and with it, the world will never be the same. As you drift into rest, picture that scene, the old and the new side by side, the horse and the car, the wagon and the Model T. The slow world of the past and the faster, freer world of the future. It is the birth of a new age, the age of the automobile. And it all begins here, with a simple, sturdy, unassuming little car, the Model T Ford. The year is now 1913, and Henry Ford's vision is unfolding in ways most people never imagined. The Model T has already begun to change daily life. Families are travelling farther, farmers are delivering goods faster, and towns are feeling smaller, closer together. But Henry Ford is not finished. He sees something in his mind that others cannot yet see, a way to make cars faster, cheaper, and accessible to everyone. He sees a future where every family, every worker could own a car, and to reach that future he must change not just the car but the way it is made. Imagine walking into the Highland Park plant in Detroit, 1913. The building is vast, filled with the hum of machines, the clang of metal, and the careful footsteps of workers moving through the space. But something is different here. This is not the old workshop on Paquette Avenue. This is a new kind of factory, a place of rhythm, precision, and flow. Henry Ford has introduced the moving assembly line. Instead of workers bringing parts to a stationary car, the car now moves along a conveyor. Workers stay in one place, performing a single task over and over. One man tightens a bolt, another fits a wheel, another installs a seat. The car moves steadily forward, step by step, until it is complete. The moving assembly line is revolutionary. Before, building a single Model T took 12 hours. Now, with this new system, it takes just 93 minutes to complete a car. Imagine that. What once took half a day now takes less than 2 hours. The rhythm of production becomes almost musical, a steady, soothing flow. Men and women work in harmony with the machine, their movements synchronized, their tasks repeated with gentle precision. Henry Ford once said, "Any customer can have a car painted any color that he wants so long as it is black." It is a simple, practical choice. Black paint dries quickly, the assembly line moves faster, and more people can afford a car. Thanks to the assembly line, the price of the Model T begins to fall, From $850 in 1908, the cost drops to under $300 by the early 1920s. Imagine a small-town family in Iowa. They save their money for months. Now, with the reduced price, owning a car is finally within reach. They can drive to town, visit neighbours, and explore the countryside. The world that once seemed vast is now smaller, more connected. The Model T is no longer a novelty. It is part of daily life. It carries children to school, families to church, farmers to markets, and doctors to patients. With more cars on the road, the landscape begins to change. New dirt roads are smoothed. Bridges are built. Roadside diners and small gas stations appear, offering fuel and a place to rest. Motels slowly emerge, inviting travellers to stay the night. Imagine a Sunday afternoon drive. A family packs a picnic basket and climbs into their Model T. The children laugh as the wind brushes their faces. The parents smile, holding the steering wheel with a gentle sense of wonder. They travel to a nearby river, or a hilltop, or a small lake. The journey is calm, the pace deliberate, yet faster than any previous generation could imagine. The Model T becomes more than a machine. It is freedom, exploration, and independence, rolled into one. With a moving assembly line does more than just produce cars faster. It changes the lives of the workers. Ford introduces higher wages for his employees, the famous $5 a day wage. This is almost double what most factory workers earn at the time. It allows workers to support their families, buy their own Model Ts, and participate in the new world they are helping to create. The factory hums with life and purpose. It is a place of steady routine, but also of opportunity and pride. The men and women on the assembly line are building more than cars. They are building a new kind of life, a new kind of society, one where mobility, freedom, and progress belong to more people than ever before. The moving assembly line does more than just produce cars faster. It changes the lives of the workers. Evenings in the factory are calm. The last sparks of the day fade from the metal as workers finish their shifts. The machines rest, silent and steady, until morning. Outside, the autumn sky is painted with soft pinks and oranges. Families drive home in their new cars, the engines humming gently, carrying them through the twilight. Children press their faces against the windows, watching the fields and trees pass by. Farmers plan their next trip to town. Teachers imagine the new possibilities for travel and learning. All around, the world is beginning to feel smaller, closer, gentler. By making cars faster, cheaper, and more accessible, the assembly line does something profound. It allows ordinary people to dream bigger. It allows families to travel, explore, and connect. It allows towns to grow, roads to expand, and the landscape of America to change. Henry Ford did not just invent a car. He invented a way for people to experience life differently. Through the hum of machines and the rhythm of the assembly line, he transformed society. And every Model T that rolls off the line carries more than metal and wheels. It carries hope. It carries independence. It carries the quiet promise of a brighter, freer, more mobile future. As you close your eyes tonight, imagine walking through the Highland Park plant. Hear the steady rhythm of the moving assembly line, the soft clinks of bolts, the gentle hum of engines waiting to be installed. See the workers moving in harmony with the machines, a quiet ballet of purpose and precision. Outside, the first Model Ts are on the road. Families drive past fields, towns, rivers and hills, the engines whispering their promise of freedom. The sun sets gently over the horizon. The world feels smaller, calmer, more connected. And somewhere in the distance you hear the soft, steady hum of progress. A hum that carries dreams, freedom, and the quiet power of a little car that changed the world, the Model T Ford. The year is now the 1910s, and the quiet hum of the Model T has begun to echo across the country. What once seemed impossible, a car for ordinary people, has become reality. The streets of towns and villages are slowly filling with these small, sturdy machines. The landscape of America is shifting, not with noise or chaos, but with gentle, steady progress. Imagine a small farmhouse in Ohio. The sun rises softly over golden fields, and the family gathers outside ready for the day. The Model T sits quietly, waiting to carry them wherever they wish to go. For the father, it is freedom from the limits of distance. He can drive to the town market, deliver fresh produce, and return home without the fatigue of a long day on horseback. For the mother, it is ease and convenience. Trips to the neighbouring town, once a half-day journey, now take minutes. She can carry supplies, visit friends, and return home with time to spare. Children laugh in the back seat, feeling the thrill of the open road. They see the world pass by, rivers, forests, rolling hills, a moving picture book of life outside their small town. The Model T has become a companion, a helper, and a gateway to experiences that were once distant dreams. In towns across America, the presence of the Model T quietly transforms life. Local roads are improved, smoothing out bumps and potholes to accommodate the steady hum of engines. Bridges and intersections are strengthened. Main streets begin to fill not just with horse-drawn wagons, but with cars, each carrying families, merchants and travellers. Stores, once dependent on foot traffic, now see new customers arriving from neighbouring towns. Gas stations begin to appear along the roads, small wooden buildings with pumps and tin signs, welcoming the new wave of travellers. Even simple roadside diners emerge, offering warm meals to families on Sunday drives. The Model T encourages movement. It encourages exploration. It encourages connection. For farmers, the Model T is a quiet revolution. Fields that once felt isolated are now connected to markets. A farmer can drive his harvest into town in a fraction of the time, delivering fresh produce or milk while it is still at its best. Distance, once a challenge, becomes manageable. Opportunity expands, almost imperceptibly, like sunlight spreading across a field. Some farmers even adapt their Model Ts for work on the farm. With minor modifications, the car can carry tools, feed and small livestock. It becomes both a vehicle of leisure and a tool of labour. Life, once limited by geography, begins to stretch in new directions. The Model T is not just a workhorse. It brings families together on long drives, picnics by rivers, and gentle excursions to forests and lakes. Picture a crisp autumn morning in Michigan. A family packs sandwiches, blankets, and a small basket of apples. They climb into their Model T, the engine purring softly. The children press their faces to the windows, watching the world glide by. The mother holds a basket steady in her lap, smiling at the simple joy of movement. The father steers carefully, feeling the steady power of the car beneath him. They drive to a quiet river, where the water reflects the bright colours of the season. They picnic on the shore, the hum of the engine fading into the gentle rustle of leaves. The day is long, calm, and full of quiet happiness. As more cars appear, communities become linked in ways that were once unimaginable. Neighbours who had rarely visited each other now meet more often. Families attend church services in distant towns. Children travel to schools farther from home. Doctors reach patients more quickly, helping those who once waited hours for care. The Model T fosters a sense of togetherness. It shrinks distances, not just geographically, but emotionally. Life begins to feel more expansive, more connected, more hopeful. The transformation is subtle. It does not happen all at once. It unfolds slowly, like the rising of the sun over a quiet landscape. Roads become routes. Routes become journeys. Journeys become memories. And everywhere, the soft hum of the Model T is a reminder. The world is moving forward. Steadily, gently, almost imperceptibly, America is becoming a country on the move. Now, as you close your eyes and drift towards sleep, imagine the world of the 1910s. Quiet farms, bustling towns, winding dirt roads, and the occasional steady hum of a Model T passing by. Families moving freely, children laughing, farmers delivering their harvest, communities quietly connected by the wheels of progress. Feel the rhythm of the engine, soft and comforting like a heartbeat. The Model T is more than metal and wheels. It is freedom. It is independence. It is the gentle, steady pulse of a changing America. And as you rest tonight, imagine yourself on a slow Sunday drive in the soft autumn light. The engine hums gently beneath you. The road stretches before you, calm and open. The world feels smaller, closer, and full of quiet possibility. The year is now the 1920s, and the Model T has become more than a car. It is a quiet revolution on four wheels, a gentle force that has reshaped the lives of millions of people. From the first sale in October 1908 to this moment, the Model T has travelled countless miles, carrying families, farmers, teachers and workers across the vast landscape of America. And in its movement, it has carried something else as well, the promise of freedom, independence, and connection. Imagine the morning routines of families across small towns and cities. In a quiet Ohio village, a father climbs into his Model T to take milk to town, the soft hum of the engine echoing along the dirt road. The mother drives the children to school, the car steady beneath her hands, carrying them safely across bridges and fields. Neighbours wave as they pass by, exchanging greetings that now travel farther and faster than ever before. The Model T has changed what it means to live, work, and explore. Journeys that once took hours on horseback or by wagon now take minutes. Distance is no longer a barrier. Time feels more abundant, and yet this transformation has happened quietly. No fanfare, no spectacle, just the gentle rhythm of wheels on roads, the soft hum of engines, and the lives of ordinary people unfolding in new ways. The Model T has opened the countryside to families who had never imagined travel beyond their town. Picture an autumn afternoon in Michigan. A family drives to a nearby lake, the children laughing as the wind brushes their faces. They explore forests, meadows, and riversides that were once distant dreams. They picnic under the shade of a tall oak tree. the hum of the engine fading into the gentle sounds of nature. For young couples, the Model T brings independence. They can drive to new towns, visit friends, or explore quiet country roads. The open road becomes a place of discovery, romance, and gentle adventure. For the older generation, it brings convenience. Farmers carry goods to markets. Doctors reach patients quickly. Merchants connect with suppliers. Life becomes more manageable, more connected, more fulfilling. Across America, the Model T fosters a quiet sense of unity. Small towns are linked by roads, gas stations, and garages. Neighbours meet more often. Communities grow closer. The distance between places shrinks, and with it, the sense of isolation that once marked rural life. Imagine a Sunday in a small Illinois town. Families drive to visit friends in neighbouring villages. Farmers deliver produce to markets they could not have reached before. Teachers attend meetings in distant towns. The world feels smaller, warmer, more connected, and everywhere, the soft hum of the Model T reminds people that they are part of something larger. The car is more than metal and wheels. It is a bridge, a companion, and a quiet symbol of progress. Henry Ford's invention did not end with the car itself. The assembly line, introduced in 1913, transformed industry forever. Other manufacturers began to adopt similar methods. Products once handcrafted by a few now rolled steadily off production lines, faster, cheaper, and more reliably. The lessons of efficiency, teamwork, and precision spread across industries. From furniture to appliances, from machinery to consumer goods. And for the workers, the assembly line brought new opportunities, higher wages, safer working conditions, and a chance to participate in the growing mobility of the nation. The Model T was not just a vehicle. It was a quiet revolution in work, life, and industry. Now let us slow down and reflect. The Model T began as a simple idea, a car for ordinary people. It began as a vision in the mind of a boy who loved machines, who dreamed of freedom, and who believed that innovation should belong to everyone. From the first humble quadricycle to the vast Highland Park factory, from the streets of Detroit to the far reaches of small-town America, that vision grew into reality. Millions of people felt its influence, often without realizing it. The world became smaller. Families travelled farther. Communities connected. Life became easier, freer, and more abundant. And through it all, the Model T carried something invisible yet powerful. The quiet assurance that progress is possible, that dreams can move steadily forward, and that even ordinary people can participate in extraordinary change. Imagine now a quiet evening in the late 1920s. The sun sets over a small town in Michigan. The last leaves of autumn drift lazily to the ground. A Model T hums softly as it carries a family home from a day of exploration. Children laugh, parents smile. The world is calm, connected, and full of possibility. Somewhere, Henry Ford reflects quietly in his office. He watches the streets outside filled with cars of every shape and size, but all inspired by his original vision. He knows that the Model T was never just a car. It was a promise fulfilled, a dream realized, and a gentle revolution that touched millions. And now, as you rest and drift deeper into sleep, imagine yourself in that quiet world. The hum of the Model T is soft and steady. The road stretches before you, calm and open. the world feels smaller, safer, and full of quiet possibility. You're travelling gently through history, through the lives of ordinary people whose days were made brighter, easier, and freer by a simple, sturdy little car. The Model T Ford may have been built of metal and wheels, but it carried something far greater: freedom, connection, and the quiet rhythm of progress. And as you sleep tonight, let the soft hum of that dream carry you through time, across roads, rivers, and fields, into a world where movement, hope, and gentle change flow steadily, endlessly forward.